It is hard to find someone who hasn't heard about me. William Shakespeare, or Sir William Shakespeare, as many people like to say. I have the impression that certain old woman granted me that title after my death. Not quite sure how. I was, or used to be, don't really care about it, a poet and a playwright. That means a person who writes plays. In a quarter of a century, I managed to write 38 plays, more than 150 sonnets and 2 epic poems. There are people who think that I reinvented English language as a whole. That is quite an assumption, meaning that Cervantes is not the only man with a language. In fact, I am the man who reinvented English language as we know it. Not because it also has evolved into many different slangs, proving that mankind can destroy anything they touch. Although language is not something you can touch. Nevertheless, it has been corrupted by the very existence of men. But it has also evolved by it. So, it is a wonderful dichotomy, meaning there are always two sides of things. Such as my hand. It has two sides. And two hands. Oh, empty. I'm sorry, I always deviate from the main topic, but I always return. Anyways, I am considered to be England's national poet and have more theatrical performances than any other play. People memorize my poems and the speeches from my plays. How long I've been translated to the majority of languages. Even Swahili. But despite all that, ask yourself this question. What do you really know about me? Just my name and that I wrote Romeo and Juliet. That is not a proper answer for a playwright with a language, is it? So, I'll begin to tell you a few facts about my life. I am William Shakespeare, and I wrote Romeo and Juliet. I'm just kidding. So, I was born on April 23rd, 1564 in Stratford-upon-Avon and registered and baptized 3 days after in the Holy Trinity Church. My father was John Shakespeare and my mother, Mary Arden. I was the third of 8 children. Yes, there wasn't anything to get distracted with. So they made children. That's what they did. Coincidentally, the day of my birth was 54 years later, the day of my death. My father was a landowner, moneylender, and a businessman trading wool and agricultural goods. He was rich for that time. However, when he married my mother, Mary Arden, she brought with her at least 50 acres of property which she inherited from her father. They were in a good position. Then, my father was elected as one of the 2 chamberlains to the town's government. That means he was the mayor of the town. I was about 4 years old. Oh, he lasted in that position. But then, his fortune began to deplete when I was about 13 to 19 years old. He fell into debt, up to the point that he couldn't go to the church for fear to get caught and arrested for his failure to pay. We resided on Henley Street, same place where I was born, 19 miles away from London, in the county of Warwickshire. I, myself, am a survivor of the plague, but before me, 2 sisters died, Joan and Margaret, because of the plague. But after me, Gilbert and another Joan survived and died because of the plague. Richard survived and Edmund died because of the plague. So, 4 survivors and 4 deaths because of the plague. As you can see, my family lived up through a lot of death and misery after having a big fortune. So you can explain the depths of my plays and characters. And it is so that I had to have a great spirit for life to move on and live a happy life. However, misery remained my companion. But now, I want to tell you about the school that I supposedly attend. And I said supposedly because you living ones don't seem to agree whether I studied there or not. I'm sorry. So, I learned English, grammar, and Latin supposedly at King's New School, supposedly between the age of 7 and 13 years. It was a great school with great teachers graduated from Oxford. It has really high standards. I also supposedly worked as a butcher for a while when I left school because father couldn't afford it anymore. There is a rumor that I stole a deer from Sir Thomas Lucy at Charlotte. Punishment had to be prison. So that's why they think that I supposedly moved away from my birth town to London. As much as I would like to tell about those years, I won't, because I don't know if they think that I supposedly exist or not. So I'll go on to the part where I emerged as a professional actor in London.
No, it's so fast, my dear William.
Who is that?
Don't you recognize me? I'm one of your biggest creations.
Oh, Buck, don't be so pompous about it. You always manage to appear from nowhere. One of these days you'll scare me to death.